Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. I don't remember all the details, but I remember a long time ago learning that there is a colony of mites that live at the base of your eyelashes, and if the mites die, the eyelash falls out. How's that for a random piece of information? This week we have been exploring some of the things St. Augustine, a very important church theologian, said. He has shaped much of Christian thought and is even an early precursor to the Protestant Reformation, which happened over 1,000 years after Augustine died. Augustine had a powerful understanding of grace, but he also was filled by the wonder of God. That wonder is evident in one of his comments. People travel to marvel at the mountains, seas, rivers, and stars, and they pass right by themselves without astonishment. I don't think Augustine had any idea there was a colony of mites on your eyelashes, but I do think he would appreciate something like that. Augustine found beauty and wonder in our world, and more importantly, found God in the power and vastness of the ocean and in the lofty heights of the mountains. But he also found God in the small things, too, that so many of us overlook. What wonder there is in the human body, how a hand works and is perfect to suit our needs, for example. Augustine found God in the large, grand things, but also in the tiny, amazing things. He invites us to find God in those places, too. But lest we think too highly of ourselves, Augustine reminded us that those things are from God and not from ourselves. In many of his writings, Augustine spoke against pride, often seeing pride as the root of most sin. When we think too highly of ourselves, or think that we can supplant God with our own wills, we have moved far away from who we should be. Instead, Augustine advised to strive for humility. He wrote, "Do you wish to rise? Begin by descending. You plan a tower that will pierce the clouds? Lay first the foundation of humility." Humility helps us remember who we are and who God is, and that we aren't God. Humility also puts us in right relationship with our neighbor. We aren't better or worse than anyone. We are alike in needing God's love and grace, and we are alike in receiving it. What a gift that is. In my Lutheran church, we begin every Sunday with a confession and forgiveness. We confess that we have sinned, and then the pastor proclaims God's forgiveness. And then the pastors leave the sanctuary. You see, this confession and forgiveness isn't part of our worship. It's a preparatory rite. And once we have received God's forgiveness, we respond in worship and praise, and that's when the worship begins. The natural result of receiving the gift of forgiveness is to respond in praise and worship. And I think that's what Augustine meant when he wrote, "A Christian should be an alleluia from head to foot." I think he meant that all of life should be lived in that sense of responsive thanksgiving and worship and praise of God for all that God has done for us. God ought to consume us and be the focus of our lives. Which leads to the last quote from Augustine this week. Christ is not valued at all unless he is valued above all. Now there's a challenging line for us. You see, many of us want to fit Christ into our lives, but what Augustine means and what we should do is fit our lives into Christ. Christ is the point of our existence. It might behoove us sometimes to look at our choices to see if they reflect valuing Christ above all else. In a recent Sunday school class, seminarian Lewis Liss was commenting on where Christ said that all authority in heaven and on earth had been given to him. Lewis said, "To me, that means I don't have any authority, even over my life. That authority belongs to Christ." What powerful insight, and how that must shape our living. Our God is an awesome God, full of love and grace for us. God values us. May we value God above all. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.